Chair recognizes Mr. Evangelidis of Holden.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Through you to the members. I'm here today, and I'm really starting today with a little bit different approach. I oftentimes come here and I speak directly against the bill, or I speak directly in favor of it. But today I come here with some healthy skepticism that I think a lot of people share in America today. I don't think there's any doubt that a lot of us have observed over the last few years, and in my mind it's intensified even more in the last year, a real belief that the government intrusion in Americans' lives is becoming something of a problem. Is it an overreaction? Are people being paranoid or overly concerned? I don't know. But there's clearly a perception out there that government is intruding into our lives, perhaps beyond the level that we have traditionally been comfortable with as Americans. I think we often viewed things in the last few years that maybe we never thought we'd see when we grew up in this country. Did we ever think we'd see these massive bailouts we've seen that America has gone through in the last few years of our banking industries and our investment industries? It's been extraordinary. Have we ever thought we'd see government involved in the amount of spending and the stimulus bills to basically take private industry out but inject government as the way to stimulate our economy? I think we've seen the takeover recently of the banking industry that has now been nationalized. We have seen the auto industry essentially nationalized. And I think we have a high-tech world that all of us know that it seems like our privacy and our autonomy as individuals has been crept and slowly been eaten away by the fact that we just live in a technologically advanced world. And all of those things feed into the perception I think many Americans feel today. It's sort of an unease about the current state of affairs and government's involvement in our lives. Now, I have heard from a lot of people on this bill, like you have, about emails about this particular bill that was passed in the Senate. And I just want to express the fact, as many of you probably feel also, these were not emails coming from the usual folks. You know, like if an issue comes up and you get a bunch of emails from one activist group or another. But I noticed a very interesting observation in the emails that I was receiving. They seemed to come from different people that I hadn't heard from before, and they seemed to reflect a general unease about what the Senate bill was. And what I want to say about the Senate bill, because it is important, is that many of those areas that were in the Senate bill, I believe, were taken out by the House version of this bill. And I want to say that I appreciate the efforts that were made in the House of Representatives to take out many of those excessive pieces that were in that Senate bill. And I have no doubt that what we have today before us is a better bill. What I have questions of today is it a bill that I want to support? Now, as the Senate bill had, I understood, there was a possibility they were going to even suspend Fourth Amendment. One of the constitutional cornerstones of this country is you can't enter a home, seize individuals without a warrant or probable cause. There was a belief that you could enter homes without those safeguards that we have instituted in our Constitution for so many years. The ideas of quarantining individuals, the ideas about rejecting people's right to assemble in public because of a potential health scare, about the idea of vaccinations of individuals mandated by the government. All these things are very, very disconcerting to people in this air that they have now of, wait a minute, government just seems to come, when's it going to stop? And then you see a bill like this, and I think like a lot of you, when I first got those few emails from people about the Senate bill, I didn't believe it. I said, that can't be in a bill that we'd be taking up in the Massachusetts House of Representatives. And believe me, I've seen a lot of things I never thought I'd be taking up here as a member of this building. But that one, I just said, could not be the case. And yet it actually were accurate. The emails actually properly described what was contained in that Senate bill. And I think today we have taken up a much better bill. But we do have a responsibility as legislators today. And I'm sure every one of us takes it seriously. My belief of our responsibility right now is that we are not to incite fear of the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Our job is to be responsible, to take the evidence we get as legislators and present that, digest it, and come up with a reasonable and good legislation on any matters that come before us. And I do feel that the H1N1 virus, without a doubt, has created a climate of fear across Massachusetts, across the country, and in many ways across the globe. But a climate of fear doesn't mean that you react by passing reactionary pieces of legislation. So, Mr. Speaker, what I'm suggesting today is that I come to this chamber today with a very open mind. I look forward to this debate. The chairman of the committee did his best today to allay some of my fears that I had when I came in here, and I appreciate that, and I do understand that some onerous pieces of this legislation have clearly been removed, and I think that's wonderful. What I do expect to hear, and I hope comes out in the remaining debate we have and with the amendments, is that we get a clear understanding of what this bill does, what the impact of it is, what we are extending to the government by legislation that may only now be in regulations, so that all of us, when we come to make that final vote later today, we know exactly what we're voting for. So right now, I still have questions that I hope will be answered as we proceed through the debate. And Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the opportunity to be heard, and I may come back later, but at this time I simply ask for everyone to engage this process as vigorously as we can so that at the end of the day, we have an opportunity to understand the bill that we are voting on. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.